You need a lot of luck raising these young teenage women in today's world. My nephew just turned 14 years old today. Now, he's a young chap in today's very noisy world. Of course, he has a smartphone. Of course, he's on bullshit TikTok and on YouTube and flicking every 3 seconds, and his attention span is no longer than 5 or 6 seconds. I mean, this kid can't even have a conversation with any adult unless it's like super interesting and super sharp and is entertaining. If it's not, he'll just move on to the next thing. All of our children have been programmed in this way. There was a piece of news that came out of Australia the other day, which was that social media will be banned for children under 16 years old. You can't imagine how happy I personally was to hear that kind of news. Social media is completely polluting our minds. And most people are not going to be as strong as I am mentally. Most of them are going to be weak and are going to be sheep. So they're going to be led by the masses and led by big tech, which is ultimately controlling your monkey mind. They are powerful, more powerful than you realize. And most of you will be struggling mentally because all you're doing is watching what other people are doing all day long. Now, how the fuck is that meant to be good for your mental health? People have lost the concept of focusing. I bet you no one, well, not no one, but I bet you more and more people are unable to read books, unable to meditate, unable to listen to music that they like, unable to write poetry or start their first book. This is the age now of focus. If you can focus on a task or a creative task or a business and stick to that and turn off the outside world, your chances of becoming successful are so much higher. Back to these teenage girls who are completely tainted, bless their heart. They are not to blame. How can you blame a girl for wanting to look really pretty at 13 years old, buying all sorts of makeup, asking mummy to buy her this facial collagen kit where you put it over your face and it's like red light therapy? There's all these different beauty tools that are being sold to not children, to people, but children are obviously, there's going to be a spillage of that information to teenage girls. Okay, big tech still hasn't got a good grasp of being able to censor certain types of content to keep it away from children. There is so much harmful content that children have access to, right? If my nephew wants to jump on Pornhub, it's pretty damn easy. All he has to do is click a button saying, I am over 18 years old. And then a 14-year-old boy has access to all of the porn online. Now, do you really think that that's necessary for him to be looking at? Do you really think it's necessary for 14-year-old girls to have access to this sort of content? Absolutely not. Now, I'm going to assume that they're not watching porn. Please. What I am going to assume is that they are watching TikTok videos and Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts and some long form on YouTube. Now, I'm all about long form on YouTube. I think that's much more informative. I think there's some really great quality content on YouTube. Obviously, most of it is complete garbage, trash, pure entertainment, trying to suck your mind and make money from you. Hopefully, you're awake enough to realize that. But most of the content these children are watching on TikTok, on YouTube Shorts, on Instagram Reels, is going to be what the masses are viewing, which is nice cars, beautiful people, luxury holidays, and then stupid entertainment and comedy, right? Which you learn nothing from. It's all a bit of fun and games. You're like, oh, that's really funny. And then I literally observed my nephews. I've got 5 nephews now and a 6th baby on the way, and she's going to be a girl, and God help her growing up in this modern environment. But I observed my 8-year-old nephews the other day scrolling through YouTube Shorts, and they wouldn't even giving more than 5 seconds to a short. 5, flick, 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 entertain me, entertain me, entertain me, entertain me, entertain me. What does that do to people's minds? It completely destroys your mind. Our young girls, these young teenage girls that you're trying to raise, are going to be more bratty than ever. They're going to be so unbelievably bratty. Mummy, buy me this. Mummy, I want this makeup. Mummy, why can't I leave the house? I'm 14. My friends are all going out. Mummy, I want to go to this concert. Mummy, I want this. Because of all this exposure, which I call overexposure. We have overly exposed our beautiful, innocent young children. And it's our fault, not theirs. We fucked it up. We allowed all this shit to happen. We free speech, freedom, free speech, freedom, freedom, freedom. Tell you what, fuck your freedom. How about we start actually censoring some of this content, especially to our children? Now, the elder people, us adults, we've got Twitter, known as X, which Elon bought for free speech. And X has some pretty hardcore shit on it, I have to admit. Some of the things I see on there, I'm like, wow, okay, this is pretty extreme. But we're allowed to see that because we are adults. We can make our own opinion on these sorts of things. Now, when you're younger and you're 14, 15, 16 years old and you're a young girl, it's much more difficult for you to make your own opinion on these sorts of topics. So your mind will absorb whatever is around you. And if you're flicking TikTok and YouTube and Instagram Reels and all you're seeing is other beautiful models and beautiful women walking around with fake breasts and fake hair and fake lips and fake personalities, then you will start to idolize that, and that will pollute the minds of our younger children, and everyone's going to be the same and look the same and try and act the same. Everyone wants to live in luxury and be wealthy and think that that's the answer. When the truth is, that's not the answer. That's what the masses have produced. These platforms were created for us, and it's the way that we've used them which has harmed us. Now, most people in society are complete idiots. It doesn't take a genius to work that one out, right? Most people are extremely average, don't earn an average salary, have very average IQ and cannot think for themselves. So they just utilize or use whatever's put in front of them. Stupid trash TV shows, trash social media, reality TV. And they're like, oh, this is great. I'm going to go buy some of this. And they just act upon their impulses, upon watching all this garbage, all these garbage products. The very few of us in society actually have a brain, who have a high IQ, who are leaders, who understand that we shouldn't be sheep and following what social media has placed out for us, can think for ourselves and might just be the saviors of this modern day society. But if you're raising younger children now and you're raising young teenage girls, you're going to need a lot of help with that, because you have to drown out the noise that the rest of society has placed for them. And it's going to be extremely hard to beat that.